Okay, so your walk today is, does evaporation return solutions that have been mixed?
Okay, so good morning, Year 5. So, a bit of a different science lesson today, obviously. Okay, now, with the help of Miss Burkett next door in our Year 5 classroom, we basically put together a lesson so that helps you at home through Google Classroom. Now, before I start, I just want to talk about what's up there, okay, is what did we do last lesson. Okay, so we looked at dissolving last lesson. Okay, so we picked three different substances, didn't we? So we picked coffee, sugar, and then some type of fabric. Okay, and then what we did was I gave them to you and you stirred them around in some water. Okay, and we looked at whether they dissolved. That means dissolved means disappeared. Okay, so that was the main point of the lesson. Okay, now today we're going to look at something completely different. Okay, and it's through the help of Miss Burkett, which she's done at home. Okay, you're going to finally be able to see how it all sort of comes together. Okay, so home learning book's out, okay, and you need to be making notes as you go through. Every time that you see a pause button, or you see something that you know, well, you know what, I need to write that down. Write it down in your home learning book, put the walk, the date, and then you're going to upload all the work that you've been asked to do at the end to the assignment. Okay, right, good luck.
Okay, Year 5, much like the investigation we were doing in the classroom the other day, I've got my substance, which is, on this case, I'm using salt. I've got my liquid, in this case I'm using water, and I've also got my stirrer. What I'm now going to do is mix my substance and my liquid together by pouring the salt into the water. Using my stirrer, I'm now going to mix the substance and the liquid together to investigate whether or not salt as a substance would dissolve. As I am stirring, I can see gradually over time that the salt is dissolving into the liquid. This is also known as a new solution. The water is getting clearer and the fogginess from the salt is disappearing. As you can now see, all of the salt has now dissolved into the water. I have created a new solution.
Now what you're going to do now is you're going to now pause the video and just read through this. It says, does evaporation return solutions that have been mixed? So your task in your science books is to predict whether we can retrieve any of the substance from the liquid by the method of evaporation. Now, obviously, you don't know what evaporation is at the moment. You might have a clue, you might have an idea, okay, but it's now your prediction. So you've got your ball, you can put down the prediction subtitle and you're going to make a prediction. Can we retrieve any of the substances from the liquid by the method of evaporation? Okay, so pause it now, okay, and complete that, and then I'm going to carry on.
Okay, Year 5, so I'm now going to try to use the method of evaporation to see whether, or to see what remains I would be left with. So in the first lesson we were mixing the substance, which on this occasion is salt, with a liquid, again, which on this occasion is water. I have already mixed my substance and my liquid together, and quite clearly you can see that the substance has dissolved. So I'm now going to pour my new solution into a glass bowl, and I'm going to place that glass bowl onto a heated pan of water, and I'm now going to see what I will be left with after the method of evaporation. So already you can see what's happening. the water underneath the pan, and you can see the solution boiling away there. So I'm going to get back to you in about 5 minutes and we'll check how we're getting on.
Okay, so what Miss Burkett did then was left it for 5 minutes just to see how it was. She boiled the water because you've obviously got this solution now that has salt and water inside. So what she's going to do is she's going to boil it, because evaporation, now we're thinking about what evaporation is. Why is she boiling it? What was the point of doing that? Okay, how does evaporation link into boiling? So let's carry on and see what she says.
Okay, just an update. So we're about 3 minutes into the investigation, and I can already see the water evaporating. As the water is evaporating, I can see elements of my substance.
So at this point here, I'd like you to start to write down what you can start to see. So your subtitle will be, what can you see? Now this is, like she just said, 3 minutes inside of the investigation. So you're going to say, within the first 3 minutes, we still have water in the bowl. Okay, but what can we start to see now around the bowl? Okay, now remember that is the solution. That's water and salt mixed together. Now what can we start to see? Okay, right, let's see how she carries on.
Okay, as you can now see, most, if not all, of the water, the liquid, has evaporated. And what can you notice? I can notice that the substance I originally used, which was salt, has remained, and the water, however, has evaporated.
Okay, so what we start to notice is that the more we boil and the more we evaporate the water, the more substance comes back. So the salt is now starting to be around the bowl. Okay, so we should start to now understand, okay, what evaporation is. Okay, now I want you to think about this. Does this method work with all solutions? And does this method get every substance back? Now that's something we can't do because we're in class. However, if you've got time at home and you've got your parents want to help you, but this is only obviously if you can, okay, get a bowl of water, mix it together with something, pick coffee, pick, the fabric, or pick something else, and then put it over some heat, okay, just like Miss Burkett did, okay. Does it evaporate, and can I get the substance back to the way it was, okay? So that's what evaporation is, okay. It's the idea of boiling, okay. It's the idea of evaporating the water so you are left with the substance, okay. Now this works brilliantly for salt, but does it work for everything else? Okay, now what I'd like you to do is, this is your task for your home learning books. Okay, I'd like you to write about what you've just found out, okay, about evaporation. Okay, so you're going to use the idea of salt and water and then boiling. Okay, where does that water go? Okay, that water evaporates into the air, leaving salt left. Okay, so I'd like you to write that in your home learning books and then send that across.